Nadine Maenza, thanks for joining us. You're the former chair of the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom. You wrote a letter to President Trump. Tell us why you wrote the letter.
Well, unless the United States intervenes immediately, the historic Christian city of Karakash in the Nineveh Plains of Iraq will fall tomorrow into the hands of U.S.-sanctioned Iranian-backed militia leader Rain Kildani. So Kildani has already ousted 14 other mayors and directors from the Nineveh Plains, and even appointed his own person to Sinjar, the Yazidi homeland. So he now has taken over most of the Nineveh Plains. And unfortunately, because of his treatment of these Christians and so much animosity he has towards them, most of them will probably leave if he takes over this city that he's been trying to take over for years.
What can be done to prevent this?
My understanding from the people on the ground and in the government that is if the president of the United States or Secretary of State Marco Rubio called the Prime Minister Soudani of Iraq, that he would likely put a pause on this, and there would be further talks about what could happen going forward. So we just urge the White House to intervene, talk to the Prime Minister of Iraq. This was an illegal takeover. Kildani is known for this U.S.-sanctioned militia leader for human rights abuses, who himself is born a Chaldean, but really is aligned now with Iran and is sold out to Iran. He buys people, and if he can't buy them, then he uses coercion and threats. And we saw one by one the Nineveh Plains Provincial Council members either get bought or get coerced to vote for him. And we saw it coming. We warned the State Department. And during the summer, actually, Secretary Blinken did call and intervene. But we need a more permanent solution at this point in time. We also want the president to call back, push Soudani, the prime minister of Iraq, to call back the Iranian militias. While several prime ministers in the past have done that, because of the weakened state of Iran, we believe that he could actually make that happen. And if he did keep the mayor, one chosen by their own people, not an Iranian militia leader who despises them, and also pulled back the Iranian militias, I was told that Christians could actually thrive and come back and rebuild. They've already rebuilt. It's beautiful. That's why the Iranian militias want it. So they could actually come back and thrive. So we have this moment where we're either going to see the extinction of the Christian church in the Nineveh Plains, or we're going to see an opportunity for them to actually come back and thrive. And this all comes down to the next 24 hours, what the White House chooses to do. Wow.
So there's major stakes right now on the line.
Absolutely. They couldn't be greater.
Yeah. What does this represent a last stand for Christians there?
It does. There's no way they can continue this. Rain Kildani tried to come into Baghdad after Baghdad is another name they call for Karakash, after the horrific wedding fire of September 2023 that some thought he was connected to, where over 100 Christians were killed and over 250 wounded. And he tried to come to a memorial service. And when people wouldn't let him in, he actually threatened to burn down churches in the city of Karakash. And he came with one of his members of parliament that he had gotten in to take one of the Christian quota seats, who told them, you lost 100 this time, next time you'll lose 200. This is one of the people that's holding the quota seats for the Christians, yet here they are threatening the Christians. This was all caught on video. 50 families have left in the last 2 months, and 1,000 are expected to leave in the coming 2 months. And if this removal takes place, we would expect most of the 45,000 left to try to plan to leave their historic homeland of Karakash, Hamdaniya, Iraq.
Yeah. Talk about the history there of Christians in that region.
Yeah, it's the oldest Christian community in the world. In fact, these are Syriac Assyrians who actually are the indigenous people of Iraq. They were here before all the other people were here. This is their homeland. And they were actually the first to convert to Christianity. And so they took Christianity throughout the world. And then when Islam grew, they pulled it back into the Middle East. And so these have been Christians for centuries. They've been even part of Iraq longer. And they deserve to be here in Iraq and not sent out through. What I've seen in my travels around the world is when you have pluralistic societies with diverse people, you also have more peace and stability. So taking them out of Iraq will also add to their instability by not having that salt that the Christians bring to their homeland, and they want to stay. And that's what's most important, is they want to stay. And this action by the White House, by President Trump, could make a difference for the Christians in the Nineveh Plains, and really all the Christians in Iraq and Syria and throughout the Middle East. They're all connected. They all are the same people. And we see them leaving everywhere. And actually people that are IDPs from other places could come to the Nineveh Plains. It's a beautiful place to live. These houses are beautiful. These communities are beautiful. They have healthcare. They have everything that they would need to be able to live well. They can stay here. It's been rebuilt, except for these Iranian militias, in particular this one leader, Iranian Kildani, who has so much animosity towards the people of Karakash.
Yeah. Does this represent an Iranian takeover?
It does. And that's the other thing that is important to understand is if you look at a map of the Nineveh Plains and a map of Iraq, you can see now that this gives Iran this land bridge through Iraq. And now Sinjar was a key component. So when he was able to take over the Nineveh province and put his own mayor into Sinjar, so now he can go all the way through the Nineveh Plains from Iraq into Syria. So that gives Iran that land bridge they've always wanted. And again, geopolitically, this is an important piece of land to keep free, to keep from human trafficking, to keep drugs from moving, keep weapons from moving. All of that will move through the Nineveh Plains unless we get rid of these Iranian militias. And so this is an opportunity to do more. You can save Christians in the Middle East, save Christians in the Nineveh Plains, but also stop this land bridge that could also stop all of this terrible stuff that's happening that's just adding to the instability in the Middle East.
Yeah. Nadine, how can people pray?
People can pray for the people of Karakash, the Christians of the Nineveh Plains, that God would be with them, give them peace, give them wisdom, that the Lord would soften the hearts of the Iraqi leaders, that God would call the hearts of our leaders to intervene for them, and that he would make a way for this beautiful community of his children.
Yeah. Anything you'd like to add, Nadine?
You know, I appreciate everyone watching in this region, but, you know, these are the people that when ISIS kidnapped 250 of them not far from where I am right now, this was 2 weeks after the Coptic martyrs had been beheaded on the beach in Libya. They thought that was their fate, yet not one of them would convert. Not one of them would denounce Christ. That is who these people are. And they might worship differently than we do, but they love Jesus, they follow him, and they will not deny him. But they have been persecuted for centuries, and this is an opportunity for us to stand with them, help them stay in their homeland, help the Christian community to continue to live here. Within the next 24 hours, a decision will be made on if the Christians will be able to stay in Karakash, in the oldest Christian community in the world. This really is the last stand for Christians in the Nineveh Plains.
Yeah. Nadine Maenza, thanks so much for joining us and giving us this urgent plea right now from the middle of Iraq.
That was so much appreciated. My blessings to all of you.